Right. Hello, it says we're live. Hello, everybody. How's it going? How's your evening? How's your nano? Let us know all the things. Say hello in the comments. And then I'll pass it over to Tiffany to say hello and introduce herself.
Hello, everybody. I'm Tiffany, TLRUSSLIFESTYLE, over here on the interwebs, and I am excited to be here. I was just telling Morgan that I haven't really been working on my novel today because I almost burnt down my house. Not my house, my kitchen, my stove, maybe, whoever. But it's not really what happened, but I know that's how the story's gonna go, so I'm getting ahead of it. And yeah, having fun.
Awesome. So, yeah, I haven't worked on my story today either. I kind of spent the day watching TV and
Mhm.
then um I think that's all I did today. And I might have worked on some of the collabs that I have coming up. So I did some of that work too. So
I
tonight I hope to get some nano stuff
Yeah,
done.
that'd be lovely.
Yeah.
I got on the phone a couple of times, so I did do that because I had to call my aunt and ask her something about spices, and that ended up being like a 2-hour conversation. And then my cousin called because she would like to change the location of their family photo shoot the day after Thanksgiving.
Oh,
And I was like, "We have to know by tomorrow because everybody's closed."
yeah.
So then I ended up having to make some calls to see if we can't figure out if we're changing the location or if it's staying the same. So that was fun.
All right. I see who we got in the comments. Crystal's here. Hello.
Yay!
How
Hi,
are you doing
Crystal.
tonight? Tammy, hello. How are you? And thank
I
you.
Your hair does look really nice.
Thank you. It took a long time. I was putting it off, but it took me like an hour to straighten it, and that was too long. I hate straightening my hair.
It is a job.
It is. Especially when you wash and then straighten it because you have to wash it and let it dry, and then you have to comb it out. Yeah.
Section it off, do all the great stuff.
Mhm. It's a whole process. So I guess I did do something today. I did this.
I like it.
Thank you. I've been really wanting to dye it green, but if you see what side is the bleach on? This side? Yeah. There's a little bit of bleach right there.
Okay.
I kind of chickened out. So I only did this test strip, and then I didn't bleach the rest of my hair.
Why
So it
green
won't be
though?
going green anytime soon.
Why green?
It's my favorite color, and I had it before, and I really liked it. So
Okay,
maybe one day.
I like it.
Let's see. Got off work 3 hours ago and have been doing household stuff since I'm really excited to get some sprints in. Why did I have trouble reading that? Okay, Crystal's excited to get some sprints in. Got it. Um, yeah.
I think it
Um,
happens.
huh?
I think reading sometimes I don't know, they pop up and like it just gets confusing.
It does. And it's like I swear I know how to read. It's just sometimes I just mix the words around too. But yeah, are you still like at the end of your story or are you like moving stuff and fixing stuff?
Well, I went through part 1, act 1.
Mhm.
And I just got that done. I really wanted it done this weekend, but with the migraine and everything, it just became like a we'll get it done when we get it done conversation.
Mhm.
So I got that done yesterday and I sent it to my cousin to read to see how it sounds because I did a whole bunch of different changes since I decided the guy that was her boyfriend is not her boyfriend, but is a protagonist instead
Oh,
or an
wow.
antagonist. That's it. He's an antagonist instead.
Mhm.
Um, So I had to change a few different scenes, like things that he said. And one of the girls that I thought was her friend, as I was writing, turned out she wasn't. So I have to change
Oh,
some of the stuff from the beginning of that too. Um,
oh, sounds
so
interesting.
that's what I've been doing. And then um, I've made up my mind that I'm going to try to work through Act Two. And
Hmm.
if I get to like Sunday and I'm still on Act Two working through stuff, I'm just gonna write the end so that I know I got to the end by the end of the
Yeah,
month, since that was my goal.
yeah. Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, for mine, I'm kind of going back over what I already have. I'm not very far in the book at all. I'm like only at the catalyst or inciting incident. Um, but yeah, I'm kind of going back through the outline to make sure it's going the way I want because I'm not excited about how it's going now. So I kind of want to change it now before I write a whole bunch of stuff that I'm not going to keep. So yeah.
Why aren't you excited about it?
Um, I don't know. Like it's not flowing well. And
Mm.
like I read over it and I just feel like it's missing something or it's like boring in a
Okay.
way. So yeah, I just don't like the path it's going right now. Um I still hope to win Nano by some miracle, but I mean, I've written a lot of words in short amount of time. So it could happen, but it depends on how my outline goes and stuff.
Well, we
So,
have what, a week?
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's doable.
Yeah, and then especially since it's middle grade and middle grades are supposed to be like around 50K anyway. So I think I can get to the end.
All right. I've never
Yeah.
written middle grade because I'm the weird person that watches Harry Potter, and I'm like, my movie would have at least been PG-13.
This is my first time trying middle grade. Um, so it's been a bit of a switch, especially with like content and the length of things. Because I write a lot. Like my first book is 145,000 words.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
a little excessive, but
That's where the 104, oh, because somebody said it in the chat the other day. They were like 145K Morgan. Oh,
yeah,
that's
like
where that
look at
came
this.
from. Okay.
This thing is thick. And I swear it's all necessary, but yeah. And with middle grade, it's more fast paced. So I'm trying to get that kind of vibe. I don't know.
But even with that size, I feel like that's probably YA new adult kind of size.
This one, yeah.
Yeah.
But usually people will say not to write over like 100K or like 120 if it's fantasy. Um, so most people would say that my book is too long.
But there was something I was watching. They were saying it was something about publishing, or when you're writing your first novel or something like that. They were It's a website that you can go to where they sell books, but at the bottom it tells you how many pages or how many words like published books are. And so
Huh.
you can like kind of make sure that you're in the same comparable way as like the I guess the other genres, like people writing in that same genre and everything. And
Mm.
that was kind of interesting because there was a lot of novels that I would have thought were less than what they were. I
Mhm.
went to the site and I can't even remember what it was anymore, but they were way more than I thought that they were in reading it. So who knows? Maybe 140K is like, okay.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like the rest of the series is going to be about that long. And if that's what it needs to be, then, whatever. Just going to write the story that needs to be told.
I'm always like, as long as it's not War and Peace, I think I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Tolstoy. token. I'm like, as long as I don't top them, I'm good.
True, because there's a lot longer books than than that. All right. So everyone in the we're gonna probably start on first sprint. But if anybody in the comments wants to let us know what you're working on, that's cool. And if you just popped in, say hello. But yeah, let's go ahead and get a timer pulled up for 20 minutes as usual. And let's get some work done. So 20 minutes on the clock, and then we will chat again in 20. Oh, let me turn off the typewriter sound. Okay, go. All right. Oh, let me stop the timer. Okay. Oh, you're still muted.
Okay, that typing is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's just really loud. I don't know. It just, yeah.
Although
So
it's
we're
not as
just get
crazy.
done.
Have you heard the people with the rooster?
Yeah,
That
that
one
one is
will trip me
startling.
out.
What
Um,
was your word count during that?
I didn't work on words. Like I was working on a scene. I got about halfway through editing it, which I probably would have gotten further if it wasn't for the fact that I have this weird thing, like I'll start writing and then I get like 6 paragraphs down and then I start typing something. I'm like, oh no, I think I put that up like there. And so then I
Yeah,
have to
I heard
scroll
you
back
said
up and look. I'm like, no, I must have just thought about putting it there. Oh, but it makes more sense here. Okay, hold on. And I'll go back and then I type. I'm like, no, no, it should have been up here.
yeah.
And so, yeah, if I hadn't have had to do that like 3 times, I probably would have gotten further.
Let's see. So I was still working on plotting. So I was just going through the outline again to get the plot more, I don't know, put together. So I
I
wrote
have
about
to
like a
say,
paragraph. Huh?
you guys make me think I don't outline enough.
Uh, I mean, whatever works. Because for some books, I don't really need one. And then for some, I need at least to like pick out like the turning point scenes. Like what am I going towards?
Yeah,
So I don't outline extensively, like, but I'm trying to get the midpoint and like the breaking point to see in the climax to see like, okay, what's the target I'm shooting for? Like everything in the middle, I don't know how they're gonna get there, but at least I need to know where they're going.
I get that. And I guess I do that. Like I definitely know, the catalyst and like the midpoint and like the dark moments and things like that.
Hmm.
Um but then I get to I don't know, like cuz you're not the only person. I've watched a few other people's and they're in the middle of writing and they're going, I'm going back over my outline to make sure it's right. And I don't think I've looked at that outline like probably since Nano started.
I mean, yeah, it just depends on the story. And I think it's mostly like just fear of not getting it done right.
Mm,
So that's kind of like a perfectionist thing, just with me personally, where I'm like, I'm not, I won't say afraid to write a bad, like a bad draft. I don't know. Like I think in my head, like I try to shoot for like having a perfect draft, even though I know there's no such thing as like a perfect first draft. Um, but yeah, I just think sometimes I get in my way of finishing because I go back, and then sometimes it's necessary. So I don't know.
mm. No, I get it. I just, like I said, I don't think that you have, who was I watching? I was watching somebody and they had like a 30,000 word novel or draft, like
Outline?
outline.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
And I was like, that's like your book.
Yeah, that's too much. I mean, if it works for them, cool, but it's too
Right.
much for me.
That was throwing me off. I was like, you might as well just throw in a couple extra scenes and that's your book. Like,
Yeah.
that makes no sense to me. But
Oh, wait. Spirit is
hi
here. Hello.
Spirit. Hey.
Sorry to be
um
late. It's been a long day. I'm sorry. It's been a long
oh
day.
yes. So yeah, I just like I go back through it more so I think I've probably went through an outline the most with this story, only because there's been a couple of times where I felt like my main character was getting on my nerves, and I was like, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Because I was like, how did she turn out so whiny? She was really good at the beginning. What happened?
Exactly. I feel the same way about my main character. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, she got goofy there for a minute. I was just like, what happened? You're getting on my nerves. I have to figure out how to fix you up or something.
Get it. I don't think I said Crystal's workout, but she got 804. That's amazing. And
Very nice.
laundry.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what I was saying before that. Oh, we're talking about outlines. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. Once I go off topic, my head takes a while to get back to where I was.
Oh, I easily understand that.
Let's see. Had a great interview. Got to hang out with Morgan for a bit and plan another collab. Yeah, we did.
Oh, awesome.
Piled on
I
another collab on top of our growing list of collabs.
I saw that Barrett, you were doing an interview, but I think that was during my 15-minute, 2-hour conversation with my aunt. Because I swear I only called her for 15 minutes. It was 2 hours later. And I was like, why can't, ugh. And so I couldn't watch it, but I'll definitely hop back in.
Let's see, which was lovely. Let's see, tired from work as usual, but stoked to have the next 2 days off. Yes. Yay for days off.
Absolutely. Are you cooking, Crystal, or doing anything like with your family?
Yeah, let us know your Thanksgiving plans. I'm not cooking, but I'm hanging out with family. I'll be eating. Well, yes, I am cooking. My mom wants me to cook, help her cook. So I'll
I
be
still have
making
to
the
clean
stuff.
my stove when we get done, and that'll decide if I'm cooking.
Let's see. Hopefully, by Thursday night, I look less exhausted. Know the feeling. But at least you get to take some rest, get some sleep, recharge, hopefully.
I used to work, like I worked retail for a ridiculous amount of time, and Thursdays, because I was a manager. So, during the holidays, Thanksgiving was really like Thanksgiving and Christmas was like the only days you really got off.
Mm-hmm.
And so I came up with a routine where I just like stayed in my pajamas and watched movies and ate all Thanksgiving. And now my family's like, come to our house. And I'm still like, no, I really like being in my pajamas and eating. So they get really offended with me because I literally won't leave my house on Thanksgiving. I'm like, it's pajama and movie day. That's what I'm grateful for.
Pajamas and movies.
Yeah.
That's funny. It says I'm going to try to convince my mom to let me interview her for my channel. Yes, I'd
That's what
love that.
everybody was saying on his stream the other day,
Yeah,
that they wanted an interview with his mom. So yay.
do it. Crystal says, yes, I'm cooking for my daughters and myself, so chicken instead of turkey, but definitely all of the trimmings and desserts.
Nice.
I do not prefer turkey either.
I don't
We have
either.
turkey every year, but why are we having turkey? Nobody likes turkey.
I don't mind it, but to me it's a bit much, like Thanksgiving and then all of a sudden a month later, Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So I make lasagna for
Okay.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, mom always makes both turkey and ham, but on Christmas she only makes ham.
Mm.
Like we could just do without the turkey, but okay. See, Crystal says we no longer live by family, so it's a bonus and a curse. Understandable. Mm. A good sleep sometimes solves a third of my problems. True.
Yeah.
I cook in a retail type setting, so it's absolutely nuts right now. I can't imagine. I don't envy that.
Yeah.
Hoping to sleep in both days actually, at least get 7 hours each night. Doesn't that sound like heaven? Yes. If I could get 7 hours, but normally I get like 5 or 6, which is
It
sad.
depends on if I'm working on something. If I don't have a project or something due, I would say I probably get at least 7.
That's
But
good.
if I do, then or if I get caught up in something, then no.
Yeah, it sucks because I always wake up, like my body wakes up at the same time every day, but it doesn't matter what time I go to sleep. So if I go to sleep really late, I'm still waking up at 6. So there's no sleeping in for me. It just does not happen anymore, and it's really sad.
That's why you do those 8 a.m. mornings.
Yeah, because I'm already up, been for like 2 hours by that point. So
Wow.
yeah, I mean, I don't have to use an alarm clock, so that's I guess a bonus. But I'm always yeah, I always get up at 6 or 6:30. Oh, I didn't read that. I think unless we have a giant family gathering at some point in the future, chicken is a new tradition. Yes. And for Christmas, we're doing our usual tradition of lasagna and garlic bread. We've done it now for almost a decade. Okay.
So
I love
Crystal and I are like
tradition.
backwards because
Yeah.
I do lasagna and garlic bread for Thanksgiving, and then we do the traditional thing for for Christmas. That's awesome.
Mm-mm-mm. It does sound like heaven. It does. If I could get more than 5 to 6, I would be in heaven. Yeah, same. I usually get maybe 4 hours between my insomnia, PTSD, work, and being a mom, usually less now during nano. I feel all that too.
If I get insomnia, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mm-mm.
Yeah. I still have insomnia, but like the other night, I stayed up till 3 o'clock. Well, because I was watching a TV show. And then by that point, I couldn't go to sleep after that because it
Yeah.
just kept playing. So,
I have a cousin, her son developed insomnia like either senior year of high school or his freshman year of college. And I went to go visit, and I felt so bad for him because they like, this side of my family, they have no problem sleeping, and
mm,
he was just, like, up in the middle of the night, and so I was like, "Look, let's talk. Let me help you out because 'cause they're no help."
there must be some Crohn's vibes because that sounds really familiar. Probably is that Crohn's fatigue, and it just
Mm,
messes up your whole body, honestly. Every system. I think that's the thing with a lot of chronically ill since my stroke. I can't usually sleep in past 8 at the latest, usually going to bed sometime around 4ish.
wow.
Yeah.
That really is not 7 hours.
No.
Do you nap during the day or anything, like, if you have a moment or in the evening?
Me, I cannot nap. That's also what sucks. Like, I'm physically unable to nap. I will lay
Wow.
down, I'll try to nap, I'm tired, it won't work.
Oh, that makes me hurt for you. I love a good afternoon nap.
Never nap. I mean, according to my mom, I didn't nap when I was a baby either. So maybe I've had this my whole life. I've had sleep problems.
I don't like, I've had sleep problems for quite some time. I don't know if I'm trying to remember if I napped before I got to be an adult. I'm not real positive that I did. I think maybe college was the first time I really found myself kind of sometimes napping because I would stay up late at study
Mhm.
because everybody else was quiet and stupid and like not talking and gone, and I could just focus in.
Yeah, I would love to be able to nap because I work Um, well, now I don't get off till 11 p.m.
Mm,
So I'd have to go to sleep as soon as I got off work to get the recommended amount of sleep.
yeah, that's hard to do because your mind's still gotta unwind.
Yeah. Let's see. Planning on trying take some meds and lay down after this, I think. That's good. If I nap, the day is ruined. I'll be wiped all day. Yeah, and if I do manage a nap, it did not help. Eva's here. Hello.
Hey.
I never get a chance to nap anymore, but if the stroke fatigue hits and I'm at home, I can nap for maybe an hour at most, at least those days. Mm-mm. See, I gotta bounce soon. Ricky just got home and we gotta talk. Okay.
Is this a
Thank you for
good talk or is it,
we have to
we
have a
have to talk?
talk. What kind of talk? Hope it's a good talk.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Let's see. I don't nap either. I'll lie down though. If I fall asleep though, it makes the day more sluggish. Yes.
I'm a power napper. 15 minutes, I'm good.
No. I wish, but I can't even fall asleep, let alone wake up in 15 minutes. Let's see. I have a household of three who hardly sleep, so sometimes I'm actually sleeping. Um, One of my daughters wakes with insomnia or nightmares, so I'm up again.
Oh, wow.
Mm. Tell Kiwi said hi. Oh, so it's not a good talk, but
Oh,
yes. Much love to you.
absolutely.
Let's see where I don't know where I skipped some. Um,
You're a small human. I call
I'm
them
not a
that
huge
too.
fan. Yeah. Yay. And love y'all. See you right here tomorrow. Yay. Okay, I got through the comments. All right, so let's get with another sprint, I think. Let me reset the timer. No, no clicking. All right, so 20 minutes on the clock, people. Let's try to get some, whatever you need to get done. And yeah, 20 minutes, and then we will chat again. So happy sprinting. I was distracted. I was just. Oh gosh. Okay. What am I doing? Um. Hold up. Hold up. Okay. All right. Can I? I don't think I can hear you.
Me?
Oh wait, I can hear you. Never mind.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
I
So
was like, I could still be muted. It's possible.
uh,
Whatever that word was, it's awful hard.
so what did you get done in that sprint?
I did nothing. No, I realized because I totally forgot that I had pretty much all of that Discord done except for like a couple of things. And
Hmm.
so I went, oh, okay, I'll work on those. And then somehow in trying to get into Canva and doing something else, I kicked me out of this. And so I was like, oh, well, how do I get back? And so then I had to figure out where all my stuff was. And it was an interesting sprint.
Nice. What did I do? I don't think I did much anything either. I was kind of just staring at the screen for a while, and then I started back on the current chapter I was on, so chapter 5. Um, so yeah, I think I've looked over my outline enough, so I'm gonna go back and start writing again. But
Awesome.
yeah, let's see. Crystal 8:35. Yay! I can feel the final scene coming up, and I can almost taste the cliffhangers. Yes,
I
that's a
love
good
a good
feeling.
cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Especially if I could say it right. "What is with me?" I'm like, "Cliff the hanger." Oh, hour and something in, and now all of a sudden I can't speak.
So yeah, um, I'll probably put the Discord in the chat
Okay.
so people can join. So if anybody wasn't here, I think you probably all were when we talked about
I
it.
think so too.
Um, but yeah, there's a Discord so that we can make a little critique group for us to share our work with each other and get feedback and stuff. So yeah, there's the Discord if you want to join. Um, and sorry if you can hear yelling in the background because my husband's playing a game really loud. So
See, and this is just a reminder I should be working on my story because one of my characters is a big gamer. It took forever to find what game to make him like.
mhm. Is it well, what kind of gamer is he? Is he like an Xbox? Because there's different apparently. Is there Xbox gamer, PC gamer?
Okay, well, and did I know that? No. I like, and it's so funny because my cousin, like all of my guy cousins, are big game people. Like, and they do the headphones with the talking to people and all the different stuff. And so I knew I wanted him to kind of do something like that, but I also know there's like a pivotal scene between him and the main character where she had wanted him to do something and he was like, I can't really take off time to do that. And then later he says something about going to like a tournament for the game. So I knew it had to be something that had tournaments and
Mhm.
everything. And so I had to look up like what's a game that can be played in groups with the headphones, that has tournaments. And then it was like a whole list of games came down. I was like, "Oh." And then I was like, "Okay, is it violent? Is it fantasy? Is it th" and, like, it was, like, all these
Yeah,
different genres of stuff, and I was just like,
yeah, it's intense. The gaming world.
"This is more than I needed."
Yeah, I'm not a gamer, but I watch people game?
Well, I finally was able to figure out, I don't remember which one it is. I don't remember. But I figured it out based on the fact that they're in college, and it had to be the tournament had to be before the what would be the end of the semester, but not too early in the year. And so I found one that had a tournament right about in the sweet spot, and I was like, I can tweak that. That's the game he plays.
Nice.
That was the
Nice
best I could get. I
research.
was just like, I don't know. But then I also, because the character, he in my story, it's like originally he was supposed to have been recruited right out of high school to work for a computer gaming company, and he turned them down.
Mhm.
So I had to figure out a name for the company. Then I had to look up gamer company names that weren't used. And I was like, oh, great. By the time I was done doing that research, I was like, I don't want to ever talk about video games again until one of my cousins makes me have to. But
Well, at least it's always good to do intensive research, so you got it done.
yeah, but I'm nervous because I got that part done, but then I was writing a scene and I was like, oh, we need to see a little bit more about that. And so then one of his friends came in and was like talking about it, and he's like, and guess who's playing? And I was like, the character, I was like, who? And so then I had to find another school name that could be a tournament, but again, not a real college.
Yeah.
So everything I was like, I want it to be something tech. You can't pick something that's tech that's not already taken. It's very hard. So I think I came up with like some initials that weren't anything, and then I just made them be something. So it's just like, I don't.
Let's see. Crystal says a game, but it's always turn-based fight games like Final Fantasy or farming games like Harvest Moon. I used to do more gaming, but yeah, I'm not so good with high stress quick games.
Final Fantasy was
I
up there. It came
ye-
close.
I don't think I've ever played Final Fantasy, but my sister was a big gamer, so the only games I would like were like Kingdom Hearts, Legend of Zelda, and stuff like that.
See, we played like, and this may be telling, but like we played what, Donkey Kong and like
Well, yeah, I played those
and
too.
you know, like those type of Super Mario and all those. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I was
I wasn't
like,
good at well, okay, I was younger than her and my cousin, so they didn't let me play those games with them. So, technically, no, I didn't play those games because they wouldn't let me. But,
the
yeah, with her
closest I know of like I said, my family's big gamers, and so my cousin, he used to have a group, and that's how I knew you could do like a whole group fantasy type of gameplay thing, because
mhm,
they would rotate rooms or apartments, and they would play Final Fantasy. And I just remember they were at our apartment one time and they were playing. I don't remember who had the controller. Somebody had some controller. They hit some button. The whole screen went like a bluish white or something like that. And some person showed up and all of them went, oh, it's Becky. And I was like, what just happened? And then they launched into this whole like 20-minute conversation of all the things Becky had done and what she'd sacrificed and all this other stuff. And I was like, I write books, and I'm like, this is way more than what I would ever think of. I was just like, this is crazy.
Video games are good for, like, story, like, studying how story is because, like, there's some really good video games that are just like, stories that are just, like, so intense and so yeah.
Right? I like I said, I was sitting, I was like, this story has better backstory than some movies I've watched this year. Like, what?
Yes, they have such great stories. I watch my sister play all the time, and it's like, man, this is like a movie. This is great.
I went to some movie and they did have it was like a preview. And I thought it was a movie coming. And then at the end, it was like PlayStation. So, and I went, no. I was all ready to write down the name and go see it. I was just like,
Now you
what?
have to play it. You have to make it happen.
I know what my younger cousin, he was playing something. We were on a road trip one time, and it was like when he was younger. And he had to have been, I don't think he was a teenager yet, but he was playing something. And he was so involved and intense in it, his mom made him stop because she's like, "You're gonna give yourself a little heart attack." And that's why I remember he was so young because she was like, "Your heart's not old enough to take this. Like, stop, put it down. You're gonna give yourself a little heart
That's
attack."
why I can't play games, 'cause I get mad if I don't win. So, yeah.
I don't mind them. Like, I've really gotten into, well, my whole part of my whole family's always been into Sims. And so I've really gotten a little bit more into that recently. I have issues. Like, I used to do the Facebook games all the time.
Mhm.
And then I got really annoyed when, like, it felt like they were setting up the levels that you had to go through or whatever,
Mhm.
just so they could sell you all
Yeah.
their little coins and diamonds and all the
Yes.
other little things, and then I got kind of annoyed, and I was just
Mhm.
like, "Don't rig the game. I don't care if I lose, I
Yeah.
just."
I don't wanna pay $1.99 for your coins.
Right. I was just like, I that's not interesting to me, and so I got really annoyed.
Yeah.
I agree, Super Nintendo was really good back then.
Yes. My favorite game was this was on PlayStation, though. It was Ape Escape, where you had to go around catching monkeys that escaped from a lab.
Oh, that would've been fun.
It was really fun. It was. It wasn't hard. You just all you had to do was walk around and look for monkeys. Then they attack you, and then you have to catch them in a net. It was fun.
I like it. I think that would've been I would've been very interested in that.
The excitement in gaming can be very real, but hilarious to watch from the outside. Mhm. Like my husband screaming in there, like, "Why are you screaming?" I don't know, but okay.
It's really, and it's so interesting. Like, I have one person I know who plays games. They can't direct you from the kitchen to the living room, and yet they're on the thing and they're like, "Okay, so I'm gonna flank left, and then you go right,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna like swing around and we're gonna hit," and it's like, "Really?"
Like, what? Okay.
You can't get
Doesn't
from point A
connect.
to point B, but you can, like, organize a full-on assault. Okay.
Yeah. Like, all right. Everyone has
So,
talent
yeah.
and skill, I guess.
I don't know. My main character probably would find the gaming hilarious if it wasn't for the fact that it's like the person is frustrating her. Because it's like the guy that her family wants her to date, and he looks really good on paper, but
Mhm.
um like, I think the last thing I wrote, they were supposed to go out for Valentine's Day, and then she gets there and he's playing video games with his friends, and he's like, "Oh, well, I thought it was like we were supposed to leave at 8." She's like, "No, you said 7." He's like, "Oh, well, give me a half an hour and we'll be done." And then he's like, "But grab some pizza." She's like, "You already ate? We were supposed to go to." So, yeah, so that's how I'm using the video game conversation for her.
Sounds entertaining.
Well, because that's the gamers I know.
Yeah.
So,
My laptop is acting up again, so I'm gonna take that as a sign to go to bed. I swear I'm buying a new laptop after Nano. This thing is a dinosaur. I'll see y'all in the morning. Well,
oh,
sleep
bye,
well.
Crystal.
Have a good night. Uh,
Enjoy your days off. Because, yeah,
yes.
that should start today if she said she has next two.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
So
get lots
yes,
of sleep.
rest. Sleep your 7 hours or 8 or 9.
Yeah, I guess depending on where she is, if you go to sleep now.
Mhm. Alrighty. Have we done 2 or 3
Mhm.
sprints?
We've done 2.
Okay. Mm-mm. All right, so let's do another. Um, yeah, let's go ahead and do another sprint. 20 minutes on the clock. Oh, what did she say?
Sounds good.
Bed after I post my video tonight.
Oh, have to go check.
Yeah. All right, 20 minutes on the clock, and then we'll check in 20. Happy sprinting. Okay. That's the end of the sprint.
I was trying to save it and then get back to the screen with the StreamYard, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Where's everything at?" And so, yeah, that was fun.
So how did you do that sprint?
I got done with the scene that I was editing, and I started working on the other scene, but this one's gonna take a little bit because this isn't the first major scene with the guy that was a boyfriend 6 days ago. Um, now he's not, but it's their makeup date for Valentine's Day. And originally it was like a date, and now I have to make it where she really doesn't want to go out with him, but she's trying to figure out how to get out of it. So, like, it starts off with her like, "Hey, honey, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Oh man, I'm gonna have to rewrite a lot." And he's like, "Babe, can you wake up?" And I'm like, "Oh, great."
So why did
So,
she have to go out with him though?
okay, so she did mhm, let's see. Well, I was trying to figure out how to say okay, originally, he was her boyfriend, and all of her friends didn't like him, but her parents did, and on paper, he sounded really, like, exciting, or he fit all of her criteria,
Mhm.
and so, um but I never loved him as the boyfriend, like, I kept like, literally, she was supposed to break up with him in chapter 4,
Mhm.
maybe, and it was just like, I couldn't figure out how to break her up with him, I couldn't figure out what was going wrong with them, I was just like every time I had to write him, he was getting on my nerves as well as hers, I was like, "What are you doing?" And then, I don't know, like, I was 2 scenes from finishing, and I went, "Oh, because he's not the boyfriend, he's the guy her parents want her to date." And because she feels like she kind of wants to make her parents happy, she's going out with him even though she doesn't really want to. And then I figured out ways he could play into keeping her and the main actual love interest apart and everything else. And then it opened up a whole thing, and I was just like, "Oh, that's why you've annoyed me, because you're supposed to be annoying. Okay." Um, so now I have to go back through and fix it because I was just like, I don't like him, and he came this close to just not being in the story. 'Cause I was just like, "I can't stand you." And so I couldn't, but now that I know that he's part of kind of her conflicts of things, it wasn't until I was writing their actual breakup scene, like 6 chapters after it should have happened, that I was like,
Mm.
and so,
Well,
yeah.
it's good that you figured that out though, and now you can fix it.
Yeah, and it makes some other stuff make sense if I go back and I do it the way that I did it. Because originally I was like, there's really only 2 scenes with the 2 of them that I like them together, and
Mm.
both of them are when they're having a fight. And so I'm like, "I can work with that."
Yeah,
And once I changed him, like, I'm liking him so much better now. I'm like, "Oh, I like you." 'Cause you're
that's good.
supposed to be annoying, I get it. And so, yeah. It
Yeah.
makes sense why everybody doesn't like him. I mean, I've cha at first he was a senior in college, then he was a junior in college, then he was not in college, then he then he was her high school boyfriend, no, he was her college boyfriend, he was the guy she just started dating. I mean, I've done all kinds of things to this poor guy, and I was just and all of them, I'm just like, "I don't like you." And now that I've made him, like, annoying and an antagonist on purpose, I'm like, "You're so great.
He
Look at where
serves a
you are.
purpose.
Look at what you're doing. I'm so proud of you." So,
That's
yeah,
good.
because he was getting on my nerves, and I was just like, "Maybe I just need to get rid of him. Maybe he doesn't need to be there at all." So,
Let me see.
how'd you do?
I got a little bit more done on this chapter.
Good.
It looks like about 250 words. Um, yeah. And then I don't know. Okay, so this is a middle grade fantasy. So it's gonna have like a secret underground, like people with magical abilities. Um,
Okay.
but the only people with magical ability are the children. So they're going to have like this, they're going to develop basically their own society. Um, so I'm trying to figure out how my protagonist finds out about this secret society that she's a part of, that she discovers that she also has magic. Um, so yeah.
But this is the one that's excuse me, kind of like a Midsummer's Night Dream, right?
Hmm.
Okay. I haven't read Shakespeare in a minute. I'm trying to remember. Because
Basically, Midsummer Night's Dream was
like I remember the story, but I'm trying to remember if they all knew about the magic in Midsummer's Night Dream.
mm-mm.
Okay.
Because I mean, yeah, because they didn't notice Puck or the fairies or that anything was going on. Like
Right, right.
the humans were oblivious to what was going on.
So is that like how the parents are? They're oblivious?
Yes, but the thing is that it becomes exposed,
Oh,
and the adults want to use the magic to solve all of the world's problems, basically. But the adults, like, they can't do magic within themselves, but the magic is almost tangible where they can extract it from the
kid.
kids, use it and manipulate it in different ways.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So maybe, and I'm not saying this in a Harry Potter way, but maybe something happens where, and I don't know what your catalyst is, but maybe something happens where your main character, like one of the parents tries to extract the magic from her that she doesn't know that or him, that they don't know that they have,
Hmm.
and they have to use it to protect themselves, but they have no idea how they did it.
Yeah.
And they end up running away and then finding this kind of society of magical children and like, hey, I'm part of you.
Yeah. So that's what I was thinking, something along those lines. Because the way I have like the story premise set up, um, my main character is the Puck character in A Midsummer
Okay,
Night's Dream. And her dad's going to be the Fairy King. What was his name? Oberon? I think that was his name.
something like that, yeah.
Um, so she's like under, well, that's her dad. But he's this kind of like researcher, scientist, whatever. So he's been experimenting on her since she was born. Um, so he's
Ew.
going to stumble upon this magic that he's kind of been looking for, um,
But he stumbles upon it in her.
in her.
Okay.
And he's trying to figure out ways he can use it. Um, but the thing is with the magic, it's a dangerous magic system because it has physical um, consequences. So it's not like the kids can't just do whatever they want. Like it has a physical, um, like it's dangerous to their bodies. Like they'll get sick or it'll damage an organ or like something like that. So it's
Right,
not
okay.
good for their health to use their magic excessively or even at all because one, it's new and they don't know how to use it. And two, that's just the cost of the magic system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
like it. I mean, I think that it sounds like you have a good grasp on it. of what the magic system kind of entails. So it's probably just a matter of just figuring out the best way
Yeah.
for her to figure it out. And maybe the father is the best way. He stumbles upon it. Maybe she stumbles too. Or maybe he stumbles upon it, but she's always had a feeling that it was there. Ooh.
Mhm. And then another thing I just can't figure out is, like, how they use it. 'Cause, like, Harry Potter, they have wands. Is it, like, energy? Do they wave their hands? Do they say spells? Like, what do they do? Especially since it's new and nobody knows how to use it.
Hmm.
So that's another thing I've been trying to figure out, like, how does the magic user use magic? And I haven't came up with anything.
Well, I have to. It's hard to come up with something new because I think every way of using magic has been used.
Yeah,
From
so is that
hands to
a
spells to
combination
books
of those things?
to wands to blinking, if you will, wiggling your nose.
Yeah,
um, yeah. Wow.
yeah,
And see, I write weird paranormal, but I don't normally do magic. Like it's normally like an internal thing.
mhm,
Maybe it could be internal. Like maybe it's more like telekinesis or um Carrie at the prom.
yeah,
Because if it's something that's secret and nobody knows, it would have to be like they can't be waving wands, obviously,
right.
or anything. So it'd have to be something that's subtle.
And then they can't be spells because, like, who came up with these spells? Like, how did she learn them? Especially if it's, like, a just discovered magic and not, like, an old system that's been there. So, I don't
Could be
know,
like
like
a desire thing, like they could just say things that they desire and then things happen.
yeah, that could
Because
work.
Shakespeare was really good for that in a lot of his magic. Like you just they kind of said stuff and then things magically kind of did weird things.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, I can't figure that part out.
Hmm. Because
But yeah,
yeah, I
that
agree. Like if it's spells, who came up with the spells? And like if it's subtle, it can't be huge, massive things.
yeah, or just, like, energy or,
Hmm.
like, willpower or a thought.
I like the thought idea because they say the brain is the most powerful weapon.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, and then some that can make it more chaotic too because, like, what if you aren't intending to think of something and it causes something else to happen that you didn't necessarily intend?
And if I remember Midsummer's Night's Dream, and I'm sure you're not going like beat for beat, but
Mhm.
there was some chaos to the magic and everything that
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
So that
I
could
do want
add
that
to
feel.
that. Yeah. So that could add to that. Like sometimes it's hard to control your thoughts.
Yeah, and then they're kids,
Mm.
so
Yeah. And it would make sense if the parents were trying to extract it, because maybe they're trying to extract the thoughts or the ideas in their head or something like that.
Mhm,
So yeah,
yeah.
maybe thoughts. Ooh, scary.
Yeah, so that might work. I'm gonna type that in here.
Yay!
Thank you for brainstorming with me.
I love brainstorming. Brainstorming's fun.
Yes.
Is
Um,
it I had a brainstorming thing with Barrett, and we came up with a whole bunch of different things, and I like left, and I was like, "Oh my god, like I think I figured out the whole plot of this book."
Yeah, that's always helpful. Like talking it out and just being like, "What about this? What about that?" Instead of just spinning in your own head.
Well, but I think part of that too is because we know what we want, and
Yeah.
so sometimes you need a third party that goes, "Okay, but how do you get there?"
Mhm. It's like
Or
keep pulling it
what
out.
would happen? Yeah, like, they just keep asking you questions, and then you're like, "Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
how."
true. Because like I come up with most my best plots, I think, is when I'm brainstorming with somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I get unstuck.
I think I come up with good ideas on my own, but sometimes I'll know the beginning and I'll know maybe like the midpoint or the catalyst, and I know
Mhm.
where I want it to end. But then
Yeah,
how do I get there? I'm like, I don't know. Things happen.
things happen and then the end.
And there's, like sometimes I'll know the characters and I'm like, oh yeah, there's like what I was telling the one that we were brainstorming with Barrett, I was like, and then there's like Dr. Man, and he's like, oh, I was like, that's not his name. That's just the character I know. Because I was like, I don't know. And then somehow we ended up with the main character, Dr. Man, coffee guy, best friend, sister. So like none of these people have names or anything. They're just like the random people in the story. So yeah, like mom, dad.
Do you draft it that way with no names?
um Sometimes I do.
Hmm,
Like, sometimes, like, I'm one of those people I don't names are kind of a thing for me. So,
mhm,
like, character names are really big for me. So, I, sometimes if I'm not like, my main character for this story that I've been working on for Nano, that name just came to me straight away because I knew, the nicknames that I wanted, for her, and I knew why I wanted the nicknames. So, um sometimes that happens. Like I have another story that I don't know, this name just popped into my head and I was like, she sounds like she'd be an assassin. Could she be an assassin? And then it kind of built around that. But a lot of times if I know the story but I don't know the names, then I will kind of name them based off of what they're doing.
mhm,
And then I'll try to figure it out once I do. Like the main guy in this story, I knew I needed because I knew he's from a small town that had a very like woodsy and forest kind of connection. Like they're really into earth and, everything else. And so I looked up like a lot of tribal names and a lot of like names that sounded backwoods, if you will. And like different things. And so I like, that was how I figured out, and then I figured out his name, and my cousin was like, "I've never heard of a black guy named that." And I was like, "But I need this name for specific reason." She's like, "Okay, I mean, it's fine." I was like, "Thank you. Thank you for that." So yeah, sometimes I do that, or like the parents in my story, I couldn't figure out what their names were, and then I was thinking about when they would have been born,
mhm.
and one of them's name is Janet because in my head, somehow her parents became huge Janet Jackson fans. Because it was like the time frame, and it was like they were really because I had already built this kind of backstory of who they were and why she ended up in the town that she's in, and I was just like, they would have been into like that type of yeah, that would have been right. And so yeah. And so that was like, why can't name her after a music person and not name the father after a music person? Then he became Isaac after Isaac Hayes. And I was like, yeah, that works. Okay. And
Yeah, names
so,
are really big for me too. I
yeah,
take a long time to find the name.
yeah. So, some like this story, I feel like figuring it out, it probably will, or the one that I was talking to him about, I feel like it will be, Dr. Man and Coffee Dude and Sister and Best Friend for a while, because
Mhm.
I number one, I'm so invested in what I'm doing for Nano, but number two, I don't write a lot of human stories, and this is a human story, so I can't come up with crazy like
Yeah.
A- Appleton toenails type of random names, that I generally look up. I feel like they should
Yeah.
probably have, you know, a Derek. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something simple that people can pronounce.
Yeah. I usually just try to go for just names that are not common because I don't like common names.
I don't
Um,
either. Unless I do in the story that I'm working on, I have like this group of sorority girls and their names are like Darby, Shelby, Lexi, and Haley, I think. But
mhm.
it's because they're, like they're high society type of, like the pretty girls. And they, are very like, let's have tea because it's set in the South. And,
Yeah.
so they're like Southern Belle and everything like that. So I wanted them to have names that felt like they would be traditional and Southern and, and everything like that. But generally, no, I try not to do everyday names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in my first book, my characters' names were Stacy, Nicole, Gabrielle, Jason, and Eric. Like, what? Why?
With the exception of Gabrielle, I went to school with every single one.
And then there was Lexi too. Yeah. And a
Didn't
Bridget.
go to school with Alexi. I know a Bridget, but I didn't go to school with her. But one of the girls that I know is her mom, so I don't know if that counts.
Yeah, just like the most basic names.
But I have like one of my fun things is I like to look up names, and then I see one that I like, and then I'm like, how can I mess you up?
To
And so
like rearrange it or
well, like one of my characters, his name is I think I looked it up originally and it was like Cyrah. And I was like, that's interesting. I don't like the spelling. What can I do to
Mhm,
you? And so then I think it was Cyran, but I
mhm.
kept calling him Chiron instead of Siren. And so I was like, well, let's just take the C and make it a K. Okay, you're Chiron.
Yeah.
And so that's how I tend to look at a lot of names. Or I look at like my main character's name is Rochelle, which is kind of common,
Mhm,
but everybody calls her Shelly with a C as opposed to with an S. And then, except for this one specific person who calls her Rocky because he feels like she's stronger than people give her credit for. So
mhm.
that's why I went with that name because I needed the two nicknames. And so, because one
Okay.
sounds very Southern, like she could be a Southern belle as well. And then the other one is like, but I'm hardcore.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah, I
cool.
don't think anybody calls her. I think there's two scenes in the book where she's actually called Rochelle. One is when her best friend is kind of making fun of her because she's telling her like that's not the point. She's using her whole name, and so then she's like, "Well, what is the point, Rochelle?" And I think another one is when the father. There's a big scene where like everything blows up with her father,
Mhm.
and he calls her by her full name. And so yeah, but other than that, I think everybody calls her Shelly. But yeah, even she calls herself Shelly, like in her head. So
That's good.
yeah. Although I had a, it's very. Do you do? I don't. Do you write in first person or third person?
I switch.
I know. I just finished writing in third person, and so this is the first person that I've written in a while.
Mhm.
And I was like, in chapter 2, and I go, I don't think anybody knows her name.
Yeah, that's so
Because I
being
was
first
trying to figure
person is
out how
so
do you use
hard.
your own name
Yeah,
in something. I was like, how often do we think that? And so that's how I know she calls herself Shelly, because she was having a moment. She had to, like, that was the only way I could think to get her name in there, where she's like, get it together, Shelly.
yeah.
Because, yeah, I was like, I have no idea how to put your name in here.
The one I'm working on now is a third person past tense. But the
Mm.
one I've been working on the longest was first person present. So it's been a brain switch to not write one in present tense and then to not put I.
I
So
had one scene where, like, one paragraph I used I, and then apparently I lost my mind in the next paragraph, because then it was she. And then the next paragraph, she's talking, like my main character's talking, so it's back to I. And then the next paragraph, the person's talking to her, and somehow she went back to she. I was
yeah,
like,
tense is hard. It's
I
like what?
I had
Who's dead
no
in my head? I
idea.
don't know.
I was just kind of like, I don't think I've ever done that, where I just switched in the middle. I've done it where I've switched, like, from scene to scene, and then
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, what did I just do? But I don't think I've ever done it in, like, a 4 paragraph
Yeah,
moment. I was just kind of like, wow, okay. Good job, me. I think we lost all our people.
yeah, we did. Everybody went to bed. They were tired. I usually don't get a lot of people at 7 though. There's usually
Mm.
more people in my morning streams.
Yeah, I've been coming to your morning streams. I'd like to thank you for waking me up in the mornings.
You're welcome.
I'm not a morning person, but at the same time, I'm like, but Morgan's on at 8.
I'm glad I could be motivation.
It really is. Although, well, before I hit the 50K, I would say I was actually getting up and, like, trying to get something to drink during the first sprint, and then actually writing during the second sprint and the third sprint. Afterwards, I think I slept through the first sprint. I think
Like,
I
yeah, I already won.
Yeah, I think I maybe got something to drink in the second when I made tea, and then the third one I actually might have started writing. 'Cause it was still kinda like, "This is pretty early." Mm,
Yeah,
for real. Although tomorrow will probably be productive, because I didn't get nearly as much done today as I wanted to get done.
yeah. I don't think I'll be working on my well, I'm gonna try to work on my nano project, but the collab that I decided to do, um, technically it's next week, so I only have a week to record the videos.
Oh, wow.
So I'm gonna spend all day recording. That's why I straighten my hair so it can look presentable. Um, but yeah, we'll
I think
see.
I'm gonna do I have some baking that I need to do tomorrow, which is why I have to get my stove right. And then, I'm gonna do, like, some of the food prep tomorrow,
Yeah.
and, then I think I'm going to, I'd like to at least get done with finishing up this chapter that I'm working on right now.
Mhm.
Um, and then I also, since I have a photo shoot the day after Thanksgiving, and I know I don't wanna prep everything Thanksgiving, I
Yeah.
probably will go through, like, my camera and my stuff and make sure everything's, like, set up and all my batteries are charged and stuff like that tomorrow instead. So, and in theory, I was making a Christmas blanket, but I don't think that's gonna happen till or this week, it'll probably be next week.
Mhm. Was that a present for somebody or you're just making it?
I'm just making it. I like my father's very into Christmas and he's like the person that leaves Christmas up like all year long. So it bugs me, but I like certain aspects like for Christmas
Mhm.
that I'm in control of, so I can take them down and put them back up and everything. It feels like it changes the season for me.
Yeah.
So I have like a couple of blankets that I switch out that like normally are on the couch in case anybody gets cold. So I switch them for Christmas blankets um during the winter or after the holidays start. And then I switch like a couple of like the candles and different things. So this year I decided to make 2 because I already had one last year, and so I was like,
Mhm.
"Well, let's have another one for if there's a guest," because I basically live under the other one. Um, so I was like, "Let's do that," and then, I have a couple of other things that I wanna switch out, for the holiday season,
Okay.
and then I want cookies.
That sounds good.
Well, it's like, I normally I give away cookies for Christmas, like, that's one of my
Mhm.
Christmas presents to everybody, so I bake probably 30 dozen cookies, if not more, in December. Because I it was like, I don't even know how many, like oatmeal, snickerdoodle, and chocolate chip are the ones that I bake the most. And then there's like ginger snaps and sugar cookies and um I can't even think of all the names of them. And like some fudge and different things. And normally by the time January rolls around, I don't want to look at a cookie. But maybe around May or June, I maybe get a hankering for a cookie again. And
Mhm.
so this year, I don't know why, but I didn't bake cookies throughout the summer like I normally do.
Mhm.
And so now I like really want cookies. Like more than I normally like normally I'm like, oh, it's about that time I get to bake cookies. And now I'm like, oh, cookies. So yeah, so I'm very excited. I got some new cookie recipes I want to try.
That's good. I
So
wish I
yeah,
was good
I'm
at
very
baking.
excited. Oh, I love baking is it's my calm place. So if
Mhm.
I'm stressed or if things are getting to me or whatever, normally like I kind of get in my kitchen and I just start baking. And it makes me happy.
That's good.
When I was in college, we had a kitchenette in the basement of our dorm, and so I used to go down there and I like whenever I was stressed about school or whatever, I'd go down there and bake. And most of the time I don't want everything that I bake,
Mhm.
because cookies bake a lot, right? And so I would just go through the dorm and I give them away. Not a good idea in a dorm because then I had people coming up, they were like, "Did you study for that pop quiz next week?" And I'm like, "No, there's a pop quiz. Oh my god." And they're like, "Are you stressed?" And then all of a sudden I'd be like, "I'm not in a class with you."
Oh gosh.
They're like,
It's like, "What?
"Oh."
We don't have the same class."
They're like, "You mentioned it. Did I?" And they're like, "Yeah, your psychology." I'm like, "I'm not taking psychology this sociology? No." So yeah, my family has gotten over that. Now they just call me and they're like, "I want chocolate chip cookies. What's it gonna take?" I'm like, "Okay." They bought me a mixer last year, so I can do it.
That's nice. I used to want one when I was little. Didn't know if I was gonna bake with it. I was like, I like the idea of baking. I really want a standing mixer.
I'm absolutely in love with mine. It's one of those KitchenAid ones that's like the big industrial kind of mixer. So I like I've gotten into everything with it. I'm doing bread and desserts and all kinds of fun stuff.
That's cool.
So yeah. At one point, my father told me I was gonna have to go back to giving it away. He's like, "'Cause this is too much food in the house." Like, "Okay."
Well, we should probably get off the live since nobody's here and we're done sprinting.
Yeah, I could eat dinner. That would be fun.
Yeah, I should probably do that too. I didn't eat yet.
I meant to, and then, I started watching a YouTube video before this, and then I was like, oh, I don't have time. Oh, well, that's okay." So well, it was
Mm,
fun. I'm
it
looking
was,
forward to Saturday. We probably
yeah,
will have more people Saturday.
yeah, usually, yeah. Um, so yeah, I know nobody's here, but we'll do an outro. So, Tiffany, go ahead and let people know where to find you in case they watch the replay.
Well, like I said, I am TL Russ Lifestyle on all the interwebs. You can find me at all of those. In theory, I have a podcast coming back at the beginning of the
Ooh,
year. If I can get everything up and running and get everything figured out in my head. So I'm very excited about that. And uh, yeah, I'm around. Don't know what all I'm doing, but I'm around.
sounds like me. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing all the things. But yeah, thanks everybody who came in today, even if you're not here anymore. I appreciate all of you. Thank you, Tiffany, for streaming with me. It was a lot of fun. Um, and yeah, we'll see you tomorrow morning. I have Shannon with me, I believe.
Oh, fun.
Speaking of, I have to send her the link. But yes, I have Shannon with me tomorrow. And then Tiffany will be back with me on Saturday. So, goodbye, YouTube.